How is there a Wendy's in Australia when there's already a Wendy's in Australia?
Why is it called the Baconator in the US but the Baconator here?
Didn't Wendy's Burgers already have stores in Australia?
And also, what's their chili like? All these questions and more will be answered in the next few minutes. So hold on and strap in. Wendy's, the burger store, was founded by Dave Thomas in 1969 in Columbus, Ohio. It was named Wendy's after Dave's daughter, Melinda Lou Thomas. Apparently her nickname was Wendy. It quickly grew into a fast food behemoth with over 7,000 stores in over 30 countries, including, briefly, a few stores in Australia in the early 80s. We'll get to that later. Meanwhile, in 1979, two gentlemen named Jeff Davis and Phil Rogers opened a hot dog and ice cream stand in a shopping centre in Adelaide. Apparently, they were so popular that on the first day of operation, the shopping centre's main power blew up. The official biography attributes this to their amazing success, but I think it says a little bit more about Adelaide's power grid in the late 1970s. This one store soon multiplied into several and became Wendy's Super Sundays, which then became Wendy's Milk Bar, and they still operate over 100 stores today. Personally, I still have dreams about their agro cone.
Check it out, the agro cone!
Now, it was known as far back as 2023 that Wendy's, the burger store, was going to re-enter the Australian market. The Guardian newspaper reached out to the owner of the Whyalla Wendy's franchise, Dean Tully, who had this to say: "There can't be two Wendy's. They can come to Australia and strut their stuff by all means, but I wouldn't want it to be under the Wendy's banner. We don't have two Hungry Jacks. We don't have two McDonald's. We are Wendy's." Still in The Guardian, trademark law expert Professor Michael Handler said that the two companies would probably reach an agreement. "I can imagine that Australian consumers won't be too confused and can differentiate the long-standing ice cream business from the big international burger chain. So it's plausible to think that the two can coexist." However, a quick look at the comments section on my video about Wendy's shows that there are some people who are still pretty confused about there being two Wendy's. Professor Handler also said that this is similar to a case in Victoria where the Australian Mexican restaurant Taco Bill took the American Mexican restaurant Taco Bell to court over their similar sounding names. In that situation, Taco Bell reached a settlement with Taco Bill. Perhaps tellingly, the owners of Wendy's Super Treats did not get back to The Guardian, and I've been trying to contact them as well and still no response. I called earlier, they told me to send an email. I sent an email and the person was out of office. So we're still yet to hear about what Wendy's officially have to say about any of this. I also contacted Wendy's, the burger store, to see what they had to say. They sent me back this.
Hey, so glad you loved it. Happy to answer some of your curiosities. No issue with Wendy's Milk Bar already being in Australia. Plenty of room for us to both exist.
So who knows, Wendy's, the burger store, predates Wendy's Milk Bar by 10 years in America. It is also a $3 billion a year juggernaut, whereas Wendy's Milk Bar has a comparatively tiny yearly revenue of around $95 million. There's also not much overlap in the products that they sell. And also they did operate in Australia 40 years ago without there being any trouble with the name. I don't know why Hungry Jacks famously had to change their name, but Wendy's didn't. I guess because the Australian Burger King that was operating at the time presumably did sell burgers, as did the incoming Burger King, so they had to change the name. Whereas Wendy's the Milk Bar and Wendy's the burger store are in the same wheelhouse but different enough that they won't cause any confusion. Wendy's Milk Bar has not launched any official legal proceedings yet, but if I had to guess, they're probably not that happy with the situation, but I think Wendy, the burger store, is just too large to go up against. What makes it a bit strange though, is that although Wendy's didn't have to change the name of their store, they did have to change the name of one of their most popular products before it came to Australia. In my review of the Baconator, I speculated that the name change from Baconator in America to Baconator in Australia was some sort of tortured way of including an Australian word into one of their items, making the Baconator the Bacon Mate. Bit of a tortured play on words, but maybe that's it. Whereas a lot of people in the comments pointed out that Hungry Jacks did have a burger called the Baconator a few years ago, and they've probably trademarked that term in Australia. Again, I contacted Wendy herself to get to the bottom of this.
In regards to Baconator, for once the rumor mill is correct. Hungry Jack's has the Baconator trademarked in Australia, so I've called it the Baconator for my mates in Australia.
So we were both right. It is a play on words, but a legally obligated play on words, and they're the best kind. Now, I had actually predicted this in my review of Hungry Jack's Baconator in 2022. Have a look. the Baconator, which is the exact same name as Wendy's Baconator. What are they doing? I don't know. I did read that Wendy's is coming to Australia soon, so maybe they're trying to claim the copyright before Wendy's can, just to, I don't know, trip Wendy's up for some reason. Now, if I may editorialize, I think it's pretty cheeky that a company that has products called Poppin' Chicken, JFC, and the Big Jack would trademark a term that has been used overseas for over 15 years. Very sneaky. It shows a bit of height to do that, but this is not the first time that Hungry Jack's has given a middle finger to Wendy's. Some older people have been confused by the headlines about Wendy's opening their first store in Australia because a lot of them seem to recall there was a Wendy's 40 years ago in Australia. And they would be completely correct, unless they're confusing it for the milk bar, which, you know, they're not correct. But if they experienced going to a Wendy's in Victoria in the early 80s, then it is quite possible they are remembering correctly. Wendy's did first enter the Australian market in 1982, opening restaurants around Dandenong, Victoria. However, by 1985, the company had gone bust with debts of over $8 million. Eventually, they had to sell their 11 remaining restaurants. Who bought them? None other than Hungry Jack's.
Hungry Jacks!
2 of the stores were closed completely and the remaining 9 were converted into Hungry Jack's restaurants. So is Hungry Jack's worried about the return of Wendy's? I don't think they are. As billionaire fast food titan and founder of Hungry Jack's Australia, Jack Cowan told Newsfeed, "We will not respond to the opening of Wendy's. The recent failures of Five Guys and Carl's Jr. plans to grow are matters that Wendy's will have to address in their plans to grow profitably in a competitive market. We purchased the failed Wendy's locations 40 years ago, and the fundamental business factors remain the same. This will not be an easy undertaking, and the New Zealand Wendy's business is not a good growth sign of success after many years." Maybe pulling the Baconator name from underneath Wendy's was the first warning shot that if Wendy's wants a battle, then Jack is hungry. He's always hungry. So there you go. To everyone pointing out that we already have a Wendy's in Australia, you're correct, but it's a different one. And to everyone who said that we already had a Wendy's in Australia in the past, you are correct. It is the same company reopening after a 40-year hiatus. So well done to everyone. And for everyone who said that the Baconator was trademarked by Hungry Jack's, good job. Well done. If you found this video informative, then make sure to like, subscribe, tell your friends, and to leave a comment. Even if you want to leave a useless comment like this one, go for it. I don't mind. It's all good stuff. Cheers. Tricky to see, but it is, well, you know. So it's pretty warm. Okay, that's pretty good. It's pretty good. I like it.